Thanks for tuning into Heavy, where we bring you the latest interviews with local, national, and international artists. Today's victim is.
Hey, this is Jason Crosson from Crosson. Thanks, Chris, for having me on Heavy. Our new album, Ready, Aim, Rock, is released today, the 9th of September. So log on, have a listen, and give us a thumbs up.
Beautiful, Jason. Thanks for joining us today, brother.
Thank you for having me.
Both, as you mentioned, you are releasing your sixth studio album, Ready, Aim, Rock, today. So how are you feeling about it?
Good. Relieved more than anything.
Yeah.
It's been two years of my creative life thrown into it. So, when you're producing and you're writing it all, you're there every second of the way and ticking off artwork and making sure that it's all how you want it. So, yeah, it's time to work on the next one now.
Well, we'll finish on this one first, mate. So tell us a bit about the album musically and what you're going for with it.
Well, we didn't want to repeat ourselves like we did because the last album, Rock and Roll Love Affair, it was catchy and it was pumping, but we still have to keep out our anthems, I guess. But we wanted to mature musically, so I delved into my passion for Jim Steinman, as you guys know, he wrote for Meatloaf and Bonnie Tyler, and I'd be doing a middle eight. I think, well, what would Steinman do now? So it's matured that way, I guess, as a songwriter, and you just have to grow. So this album is definitely our most mature and advanced album to date.
Yeah, that actually leads me on to the next question, because you've called it the most sophisticated and mature Crosson album to date. But sophisticated and mature are not two words normally associated with glam metal. What's going on?
Well, as I said, you don't want to repeat yourself. So, just shake things up a bit. We're still delivering our catchy rock anthems. Just on some of the tracks, we just wanted to diverse a little bit, add a bit more orchestra in there, a bit of tempo change, just to shake things up a bit. And I think it worked really well.
Yeah. How much room and scope have you got sort of to create and move around musically in your genre, mate?
Sorry, what's that, Chris?
So how much scope and range have you got for experimentation within your genre?
Look, I will write stuff that I like listening to. So I'm not a big thrash death metal fan, so I'm not going to throw any of that. So if I like what I'm listening to, if it's something I would, then we'll whack it on. We don't really stray too much. I'm not trying to stay to a particular genre. That's just how I write, and that's how we sort of deliver the songs,
Yeah. So to date, you've released the singles United and Fallen from Grace. So would you say those two songs are a sonic representation of the album as a whole?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, if you listen to United, it's got that sort of meatloafy piano things happening there, under a sort of a driving drum beat and bass. Fallen from Grace is a little bit on probably a bit slower and darker than we usually do. But yeah, the whole album is much in that sort of vein. It's got that, it's just catchy from beginning to end, sing-along choruses, and we shake it up a little bit as well.
Yeah. So this album also introduces guitar virtuoso Marco Rado, mate. So tell us about him. What do you bring to the album?
Well, our old guitarist left before the recording of the album, and so we had to find someone, and this guy auditioned, and he was a cross between Malmsteen and George Lynch, and he was in the studio doing this stuff. So obviously I wanted him to play, because in the past we've used like studio guys, and he was incredible. Like, he's just so fast, and you'll hear his solos and you just go, wow. So he and just professional. Just, he'd do something, me and the engineer would look at each other and go, wow, that was amazing. And he'd go, nah, I want to do it again. So it's good to work with someone like that.
And you've also got what's described as Queen-esque backing harmonies. So who's providing those?
Well, I've got in the studio, we use a good mate of mine, John Cater, who's got an amazing voice, and Amy Hannon, and we've just layered and layered and layered and layered them, just like pretty much like Queen did, just to give you that big sonic backing harmony sound, which is part of the catchiness of what Crosson's about as well. We like the big harmonies, the catchy choruses.
So overall, like, it sounds described as being theatrical glam rockers. So elaborate on that concept a bit for us.
Well, I mean, if you look at us and if you've seen our shows, you'll know that we're very theatrical in what we do. But we definitely have that glam rock element about us. I mean, I'm an 80s kid, and through and through, and we're just reliving that, giving the visual, giving the show, but also still delivering, catchy rock. So us, it's about people. We believe that people have eyes as well as ears, so you've got to entertain them visually as well as sonically.
Mm-hmm. So with all that in mind, mate, like, how much about what you do is about attitude and how much is about the music?
You still got to have good songs. You can have the best show in the world, but if you've got crappy songs, you've got crappy songs. So I mean, a lot of time and effort goes into the songs to make them good. But we also, we also need to make sure that the show is entertaining.
Yeah.
And that, we do have those costumes and we do have those costume changes, and that the show runs like a theatrical show. We just, instead of just normal bands will just play one song, the next song, the next song. Our show runs from beginning to end. Boom. So look, we just got to focus on everything. It's just we just cover a wider range of what we've got to put our attention on.
Yeah. So on the subject of live shows, mate, you had a national tour with Sweden's Crash Diet and Australia's Sister Souls, which is supposed to be starting in October, but it's been postponed, mate, unfortunately.
Yeah, unfortunately, Peter from Crash Diet has some health issues, so they had to cancel all their European dates as well. So hopefully that'll be rescheduled to maybe January, February. We're not quite sure yet. We'll just have to wait on the promoter to let us know.
And have you got anything else in the wind, mate? I'm sure you've got a show or two planned to launch the album.
Yeah, we're doing Frankie's on the 30th in Sydney.
Yep.
And we've got some things in the works for January, which I can't discuss yet. So until they get announced. So so it's all sort of happening slowly. If I had my way, we'd be just constantly touring and playing. But yeah.
We're getting back to that stage, brother. We're getting there.
We're getting there. We're getting there.
Yeah. Okay. So thanks for your time, mate. Ready Aim Rock is out today, and she is another cracking album from Crosson. So if you haven't heard it, get yourself a copy. And if you haven't heard of these guys before, I believe you got a DVD out from earlier on that you can go and check out as well.
Cheers. Yeah, we do have live at the Orpheum on Blu-ray. It's our live concert, so that'll show you what we're all about. Thanks,
Beautiful.
Chris, for having me.
No worries, Jace. We'll have to catch up soon, brother.
Thanks for tuning into Heavy, where we bring you the latest interviews with local, national and international artists. Today's victim is John Winter from Brisbane metal act Slaves of Dissonance.